Hi guys, how's it going? My name's Andrew Whitelaw and I'm a broadcaster based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. This is episode 1 of East of Highbury. I'm a massive gooner and I've been wanting to do some Arsenal-based content for a while now. This hopefully will bring together Arsenal fans around the world. It's going to be called East of Highbury because a lot of my friends out here met through the love of Arsenal and living in Asia. This first episode, features a long-time friend of mine, Nketiah Hughes. He's based in London, massive Arsenal fan, very funny guy as well. And my former colleague at Fox Sports Asia, Edward Russell, who's been a gooner for 20 years or more. And he also hosts MotoGP and all sorts. If you want to get involved in the show, please get in touch with me at ASTJ Whitelaw on Twitter. Football is back. Arsenal are back, for better or worse. This is our show. Hope you enjoy.
Right on the left foot.
I want to start with a little story, guys, because I used to go to matches when I was a kid with a couple of guys who did some building work on my house. And we were going to see Juve. I don't know if you remember that one, where Dennis just got that lovely assist. Freddie Ljungberg, beautiful match. But I was still very young then, and we were talking about our score predictions, and I said, well, of course we're going to win. We're going to beat Juventus. This, bear in mind, they had Zidane, Del Piero, and they looked at me like I was mental. And I looked at them like they were mental and just said, how can you not think we're going to win? Because I had that youthful exuberance, that romantic outlook on the world. And I fear now at 32 that I am now them. And I, generally speaking, don't think we're going to win. I don't think we're going to beat Man City, for example. Now, is there something wrong with me? I don't know. What's happening to Arsenal in general? I don't know. But we're going to look ahead to the City game and hopefully not be too miserable. Difficult, though, to be optimistic. What do you think, Edward?
Well, I was going to say, I don't think you're alone, Andy. I don't think many of us expect us to beat City. But there's a lot to play for, of course, in terms of the race for Europe. I was confident after our friendly victory against Charlton and then less confident after our defeat to Brentford. But I don't know. I think this could be an important period, even if, we don't end up in Europe. A lot of contracts up in the air. Aubameyang did an interview just today, I think, where he said that he's waiting for Arsenal to make the right moves and to show that they want to win something. And if they do show that intent, then perhaps he'll stay a little bit longer. But what's been interesting, and I'm sure we'll get into it, is just how much Arteta's tried so many different teams just over those two matches in the four halves.
Keir, what are you saying then, mate?
I know. You've always had that youthful exuberance. We might even call it blind optimism, Andy. So never change that. It's part of your sparkle. I just really want to look at this like a clean slate. Yeah. This unprecedented is a word that gets used way too much, but this has never happened. This mid-season break. City are a great team. Obviously, they've been off. It's all about who's been working hardest during lockdown. They are a better team. They are a better squad. So I've made two predictions. One slightly more realistic, but one is more hopeful. So look, I'm going 3-1 City, or hopefully 2-2, and we'll get into it in a little while. But I think if we pick the right formation, we may have enough to stop their firepower if they're a little bit rusty.
Would you say the goalposts have moved a little bit in terms of our expectations? Or moved a lot, really? Interesting that we're hoping for a tool. Of course, I'm with you, man. A tool where we actually show something, where we try to play, where we score some nice goals, show some progress. Sadly, that's where we're at. City are on a different level to us. Their fans are looking forward to Champions League. Might we win it? Might we not? I don't know. It's different for us at the moment. But what I will say is, feeling very, very good about Arteta. I give him 8 Thierrys out of 10. And feeling very, very good about the young players. Absolutely buzzing about the young players, actually. And bear in mind, I'm someone who was buzzing about Benik-Afobe, Chukwuemeka, Owusu.
Then I don't want you buzzing about this current crop then, please, Andrew.
Yeah, I get very overexcited about young Arsenal players, but there seems to be something different here, right? Martinelli, Saka, Smith Rowe. These are exciting names. Are we on the same train here? Arteta, yes. Youth players, yes, coming through. Biggest reason for
100%.
optimism, do you think?
Can I just ask? Are we ruling out a Champions League spot because we're only 8 points off Chelsea in fourth? Are we already condemning us to the Europa League? Perhaps not even Europe this season.
Yes, for me, yeah. I don't think we're going to fit, and I don't think it's even healthy. Maybe, as weird as that sounds, I don't think we're ready. I think we need to have a good look at what's going on and build organically, in a way. Don't rush it. I don't know, man. And I also don't know. I think Gunnerblog said it today on Twitter, keeping Aubameyang in the current situation. He's 30, wants to play Champions League. He seems like genuinely a good lad who loves the Arsenal. Keeping him would be a remarkable feat as it stands. And I hate to say it, but it's true.
The Aubameyang situation is very reminiscent, sorry to say, of Van Persie when he wanted to leave, and he was making the same noise in the media saying, you know, I'm looking for assurances that my ambition level is going to be matched. So, yeah, unfortunately, it's all about Arteta now galvanising the squad and keeping him. But yeah, you're right. Aubameyang has to stay. He has to perform. He has to be happy. But with Arteta, I think finally we've got someone that the whole squad's got a bit of trust in here now.
I mean, if we got rid of Luiz, how much is something stupid? And David Luiz is costing us 24 million a season or something ridiculous. And we got rid of Ozil as well. Would that be enough to, get Aubameyang to sign a new contract in terms of having enough money to give it to him?
It's difficult, isn't it? I read that we're trying to raise funds by getting 20 million for, what's his name?
Mkhitaryan?
No, for Ainsley Maitland-Niles. We're trying to get 20 million for Ainsley Maitland-Niles to raise the funds for Aubameyang. Look, you can see he's happy, and I mentioned before he loves the club. But if you're 30 in the form of your life, again, Robin van Persie, you brought up there, the heartbreaking fact was kind of double whammy, wasn't it? It was the fact that he left in his prime, and then he left to United, and he left to win the league, like Ferguson's final piece of the puzzle.
His decision as a professional was unfortunately vindicated because he went and won the title straight away. I think Aubameyang, just on a kind of final point about him and his situation, Lacazette's drop off in form. I've been quite disappointed with Lacazette, you know, before lockdown and before the crisis. And I think that if Lacazette was firing like we know he can, Aubameyang's just much more of a happier player.
I thought you were going to say Lacazette's having his own crisis ahead of time.
I still don't think we figured out how to play the two of them together, to be honest, because I really hate Ober on the left cutting in, because that's not where he played for Dortmund, and that's not where he was so successful. Ramsey might be going to United, I heard, just on all our good players going to United. Yeah. But no, interesting what you say about Maitland-Niles. Do you think then, because Arteta's been giving him some time in the middle of the park, which is where we know he likes to play, you think that's Arteta just putting him in the shop window, do you, as opposed to actually trying to make him part of the future setup?
I've got absolutely no idea, but maybe. We do need to be much more canny, dare I say, and I hate to say it, more like Chelsea have been in previous years. They're so canny in terms of maximising the value of their squad. It's almost should be illegal what they've done with the loan market, but they've made a lot of money at times and sold players well at times. We need to do a much better job right now. We need to find solutions in places that we haven't been looking previously, and whether that's trying to grow a player, if you like a plant, and just nurturing them for sale. It's kind of sad, an indictment of the way that the game is right now. But if we can put him in the shop window and add 5 million, I don't think that Ainsley Maitland-Niles has shown enough that he's going to be a starting player for Arsenal. 22 now, not that young anymore. Not really good enough, I'm afraid. Showed loads of potential. Don't know if he's mentally there. But if we can get 20 million for him, brilliant. And if we need to be canny about how we get that value out of him, then great. You know, we need to improve in that area. So perhaps that's what they've been doing.
And I think we need to make sure we have enough money to tie Saka to a new contract as well, because he's another one who could
That's
be on his
huge.
way out soon if we don't
It's the
sign that.
future.
You know, he's got more assists this season than Ozil, Zaha, and Pogba combined. I know Pogba hasn't played much this season, but still, that's remarkable.
It is. He's special.
Yeah.
He's a special player. Sends a
Some
horrible
of them are
message
just
if we
out.
lose him.
Some of those assists from Saka are out of this world. I just hope that obviously with this fresh start he can carry on that momentum. Same with Martinelli. But you're right. These are exciting players, and if we can keep your Albas happy and keep the squad galvanised, who knows? Champions League might be within reach. Edward, I appreciate your optimism. We are only 8 points off.
I'm a bit confused with Saka. I mean, I was looking at where Arteta's been playing him, and I guess this kind of goes into what our starting lineup might be against City, because now Tierney's back. I would prefer Tierney at left back because he's got more defensive stability. But then Saka's been played on the left of a midfield three and the left of an attacking three. I'm not really sure where. Would you guys have him against City starting?
Saka, I'd do anything to help the situation of that boy signing. I think in terms of just having him at the football club for the future, huge. But in terms of the message it sends, in terms of what it says about Arteta, you know, I think the way he's been playing, there was talk about Liverpool. Saka could more or less have his pick of clubs at the moment, maybe outside Barcelona, Real Madrid, or maybe included. If he chooses to commit at least the next 3-4 years to Arsenal, that sends a huge message. And I think we need to seriously have a 5-year plan about what is going on at this football club, because make no mistake, these are troubled times at Arsenal. Look at what's going on at Man United post-Ferguson. We have not seen much in that's promising, that shows us that there's a really firm plan in place until Arteta. Now, he's given me a bit of optimism. He seems to have a plan, and he knows how to win. You know, he's taken what he's learned at City, and he's trying to bring that to Arsenal. Now, we need to have a really firm plan about where we're going to be in 5 years' time, not where we're going to be next season or even the season after that. If we don't know exactly where we're trying to be and what we're trying to do with the likes of Saka and how we're going to keep these players, then I worry for us. So, yeah, Saka has to stay. And if it means one small step starting him in these kind of games frequently, because he's shown he can do it, never mind his age, yes, Edward, definitely start him.
It's strange. We're a bit overloaded on the left. I don't know the last time we said that about Arsenal. But if we have Saka on the left wing, where does Martinelli fit? And Aubameyang, if he's playing on the left of a front three.
Yeah, I love Martinelli. How good's Martinelli, Keir?
Class. Look, I've got Martinelli just behind Laka and Aubameyang. For me, Saka and Martinelli have to be on the pitch, regardless of, you know, what it looks like in terms of investing in youth and keeping. If we want to do the best job we can against City on Wednesday, for me, Martinelli and Saka have to be on the pitch starting, because they're the only two that have produced some really special stuff, apart from Aubameyang, of course.
Yeah, two of the bright points of this season, right, Edward? I think Martinelli, you know what I think of Martinelli. I've been quite vocal about it. Almost, I don't want to get too carried away, but almost the second coming of Brazilian Ronaldo. I love the guy. If he's not at Real Madrid or Barcelona within 3 years, I'll be very surprised. And if he's still at Arsenal, I'll be delighted. He has some talent. And I know in the past we've jumped the gun a bit, but in terms of attributes and in terms of meaningful contributions, goals, assists, he's got it all.
Yeah.
There was a great little chat between Edu and Gilberto Silva on the Arsenal website yesterday, I think it was, and they were lamenting the fact that the previous Brazilians we've had at the club since Gilberto haven't really set the world alight. The likes of Andre Santos, the Beast as well. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't want to get too carried away with Martinelli. I know how you feel about him, and I think he's shown some real enthusiasm. But there have been matches where he's come on and he hasn't done a whole lot. But again, that's the thing, right? Do you want to put too much pressure on the youngsters at this point as well, or we still got the Europa League, we still got the FA Cup? Do we really want to, be putting them front and centre in the Premier League as well?
I think Martinelli's a big game player, and it's his directness and his fearlessness that maybe other players will, they might look at City They might look at City and put them on a bit of a pedestal for obvious reasons. Martinelli, he's kind of like Cristiano Ronaldo for me in that mentality of, right, I'm out here now, I'm playing against the best. He's a bit like Michael Jordan if we've been watching that documentary.
Bloody hell.
No, I'm saying in that mentality of the big game player, he's shown a lot more for me than Saka, because he's done it maybe over a longer period of time. But comparisons to Michael Jordan were purely mentality rather than the legacy that he has left on the sport. Yeah.
I love how Martinelli's he's got compared to Michael Jordan, old Ronaldo, and Cristiano Ronaldo. You can't fail. It's got to start.
This is what happens when there's no football. We romanticize how good they were before the break.
Mate, I'll take it. Look, ultimately, I'm glad that we've got Arteta in charge. I think the players are behind him. I don't think that we're going to keep Aubameyang at the end of the season. But as long as we have a plan in place, this is what I was referring to before. Don't be shaken and shocked and have the whole club kind of decimated by that departure if and when it happens. Have a plan. I know that we're looking at the lad from Celtic. I don't know enough about him. I haven't seen him, but his goal scoring record's good. Martinelli, Martinelli could be the one to fill that void. I don't know if we're in a position where you can replace like for like Aubameyang in terms of cash. I just don't think we've got it. A guy with his goal ratio, with his experience, cost you, I don't know what, 90 million, 100 million, more? We haven't got that kind of money.
We don't have the allure of a big club anymore to get that talent, regardless of the money. So we have to look at other options.
As long as our backup plan isn't Eddie Nketiah, because I'm still not sold on that kid.
Nor am I.
He's too slight. He scores hat-tricks, but they're all tap-ins.
I'm fine with him as the fourth choice, though, to come on, exhausted other options, 10 minutes to go. Look, I'd love him to succeed at the club. There is a slight element of being right about him. Nothing like the same quality, the same.
Well, you mentioned him before. He's more Benicophobe for me, Andrew.
Do you reckon? I don't know. Look, I'm happy for Eddie Nketiah to stick around, and he seems. What I like about him is he's had those doubters before. He's dealt with that, I think, all of his career. And as a centre forward, particularly at this level, you have to come in and score goals every single time, or you just fall back down the pecking order. And he has that habit of sniffing out a goal. But we've been talking about the fox in the box since the Francis Jeffers days. It's a very elite skill and not easily found. We know Aubameyang has it. I'd definitely keep him around to be a part of the squad. He's still young enough, and proving his doubters wrong seems to be something he enjoys. I'm happy for him to prove all of us wrong. And we can't really afford to be. There's too many holes to plug right now, right? Like we're not going to have perfect solutions in every area. It is pleasing, though, that you have youth coming through in all areas of the football pitch. What's the big priority for you? It looks to be Partey. If we can get Partey, and we need a beast in the middle of the park, desperately. We lack athleticism and power. Guendouzi's probably the biggest powerhouse we've got.
Have we given up on Torreira then after, again, a bit like Lacazette, his form's really dropped off this season? When he first came, I saw him as a tenacious pit bull that was kind of going to run everywhere and just hassle people. And he seems to have lost a little bit of that intensity. He's in my team today because I think we need, if he's on form, we need, he's in our team for City, but he's dropped off a little bit. And is that why, have we kind of written him off as not good enough?
I rate him. Emery had a problem with him, didn't he? He wasn't playing him for large parts, especially once he came back from injury as well. And I know he just had that other injury and he's recovered from that. But my main priority probably isn't the D. Like if Aubameyang goes, we've got nobody. I don't trust Laka to be our star striker across 3-4 competitions. So if Oba goes, our priority has got to be a centre forward. But again, as you mentioned, there aren't that many out in the market at the moment.
What do you think about the prospect of losing one of Oba and Laka? For example, if we lost Lacazette, trouble is the reality of that is they're best mates. So they're not going to be too happy to see one go. But I thought previously, if we could keep Aubameyang, lose Lacazette, who I really liked, by the way, and had a lot of patience for that crisis, because it happens to strikers. And he scored a banger against Charlton, didn't he? Beaut of a goal. If we lost Lacazette, got a decent sum for him, 50 million, say, promote Martinelli. Because ultimately, you can't start all of them. You mentioned it earlier, right? And if Saka's going to be a winger, where do they all fit? You know, you've got Pepe in there as well, who needs to be playing week in, week out. He's had that first season to adapt now. He needs to be adapted. He needs to hit the ground running. Promote Martinelli. I genuinely think that he's good enough to be the second top forward at the football club right now. And then that's saying a lot for a guy his age, but I've seen enough. I'm not Arteta, and I'm, you know, but I think that's the solution of where we're at right now. The more sensible solution would be to go and buy a like-for-like replacement. I don't think we can do that. So promoting Martinelli could be a solution.
If Pepe comes good and we got Pepe cutting in from one wing and Martinelli or Saka cutting in from the other wing, then I think Laka probably suits the central role a bit better because his hold-up play is better. And he's got a bit of Bobby Firmino, I feel, sometimes, the way he can hold the defenders back and then wait until one of the wingers comes on the side and then pass it on. So if we can develop those two wings, then I'd probably keep Laka over Oba. Which one's older? Or about the same age?
Laka's 28, I would say.
Okay.
Oba's 30.
Yeah. So Lacazette's got a good few. Lacazette's got a good few more years, which is why I'm hesitant to write Lacazette off, despite this major blip that went on too long. Because exactly like you said, Edward, the hold-up play, the bringing other people into the game, he does really well. He's industrious. We know he's a good finisher. He just had a complete crisis of confidence. And maybe this break is exactly what he needed. Maybe he's going to come back and be that Lacazette that us three, you know, want him to be. In which case, with his years, you know, he's coming up into his prime. If Alba wants to leave, I might say that cash in on him and, yeah, hope Lacazette and Martinelli make the grade.
I'm kind of with you. Look, I back Lacazette to come good. I really do. Maybe I'm delusional, but I really do. But then that leaves us. It's funny because
we've lost your audio, Andrew.
Apologies. That absolutely leaves Nketiah becoming a bit more important in terms of the setup. He'll get more minutes. He's not going to be starting week in, week out, but he does become a proper option and he does become more integrated into the first team. And everyone moves up a spot. Martinelli becomes...
You've muted yourself.
More responsibility for Pepe. Sorry, lads. Audio. You got me?
Yeah, we have you.
Sorry. Anyway, everyone moves up a spot, basically, if Oba goes, and we use the money. I think the athleticism in midfield is something we've missed more than anything else. Guendouzi has been the only powerhouse. He needs support. It's something that's been spoken about kind of a lot, the lack of athleticism. That's what has Arsenal's success was built on. I dare I say Vieira, because we've been missing that Vieira figure for 20 odd years now and never really got back to it. But that's, for me, that's why I want Thomas Partey more than anything.
We've actually got quite a lot of central midfielders thinking about it, assuming Ozil stays, because nobody's going to want to buy him. Then we go Ozil, Maitland-Niles, Guendouzi, Xhaka, Torreira. Probably more that I can't think of at the top of my head. 5 or 6 central midfielders. Surely we've got to offload a couple of them.
Unless he's out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Smith Rowe to come back from loan as well, right?
Yeah, I hear great things about Smith Rowe. Would love him to come good. Ozil, look, how do you think we're going to look back on the Ozil Arsenal history? Ozil's Arsenal history. How are we going to look back on it? Because for me, look, I love to be entertained. The first couple of years were glorious. When he was with Sanchez, it was fantastic. I almost think he's been a bit of an albatross for us, you know. And I know he divides people. Beautiful footballer, but the substance he's provided for Arsenal has been so disappointing. And how many issues has he caused at the football club?
Well, he supposedly prevented Cesc from coming back, which I don't think was a smart move on Wenger's part. I don't know, like, I don't want to be one of those moaners because I think he deserves a lot more credit than he gets from people just saying he's lazy, blah, blah, blah. But you're right. Ever since Sanchez, he just hasn't been able to find that partner that he has always needed to excel in previous clubs.
The hat trick at Ludogorets and the Leicester City game will go down for me as two of the best Arsenal performances I've ever seen. But hasn't done it consistently, has he, Keir?
No, and you say it's Ludogorets. It's not. He did the same against Napoli. I remember I was watching in the early stages of. He absolutely took the mickey out of the defence. But again, I don't want to moan, but he's a luxury player. He's a luxury player that he's a FIFA player that you fit in when you've got a real solid base and foundation, and you've got the marauding box to box. That's the word we use to describe Vieira. He marauded through the centre circle, and Guendouzi's got that. But just to go back to Ozil, yes, he's a luxury player. He is divisive. Keep with his political views and that disruption in the change room. That added on to the fact that he cannot be relied upon to perform in big matches. I think we'll only look back with
regret,
bitterness.
So savage, mate. Also, we're paying him so much money. So much, 350.
And you're right. A luxury in terms of you have to basically factor another player in just to enable Ozil to play, because he's not going to come back. So you need to put in basically an extra DM than you wouldn't have needed if you had somebody like Vieira who could play both positions. But yeah, nobody's going to want to buy him, are they? And he's pretty much said, "I know I'm not going anywhere.
Why would you? You're playing for Arsenal. You live in London. You're making that much money." I think you're right. Look, luxury player at a time when Arsenal were far from luxurious, sadly. All right, lads, let's finish off by let's go through the lineup together, what we want to see. I know you guys have had a little look at it. What do we think? Let's agree on something that we'd like to see from front to back.
Okay. Well, Leno in goal, obviously. I got Tierney and Bayern as my two fullbacks. And then
none of us are going to argue with that, right?
Well, unless you want to have Saka on as left back.
I had Saka. I had Saka purely because I forgot about Tierney.
I feel like Tierney probably just has a bit more defensive nous, which we're going to need against City, especially if he's coming up against somebody like Mahrez or Bernardo Silva or something. Centre backs, I don't know, mate. Honestly, I want Holding to be there, but he hasn't been playing much of the friendlies so far. So who have you gone for, Keir?
So look, I've gone for a back five because I think we're going to need it. So look, I've got Luiz, Socrates, and Holding or Mari. I don't know who's been playing pre-season. I love the fact that Holding, he's a classy player. He's maybe the kind of John Stones kind of before John Stones got rubbish during the World Cup. But I want that back five of Luiz, Socrates, and another, because we're going to need it against Sterling and his lot.
If we're playing a back five, I would probably play devil's advocate and stick Mustafi in there, just because his long balls recently, since Arteta have come in, are not bad. We might need that. If we can't break through City, then we might have to break over them. And I think he might help us in that respect.
Who he starts, interestingly, will give us a little bit of indication, won't it? Mustafi is kind of, funnily enough, the safer choice because he's such an experienced head than Amari, who hasn't had time to adjust to the Premier League, had time now, hopefully, to settle into the football club. Holding is a man for the big occasion. We've seen that. I think there's a lot of affection towards Holding from the fans. We don't know about his fitness. We don't know how sharp he's going to be. Massive risk to play him against the elite forward line of City, right? So I think I would go Mustafi. I actually think that would be the one. And I probably would go a 5 Keir because we have to. I think that's
so
the
Mustafi, Socrates, and David Luiz then is the three centre. Okay.
And Tierney and Bayern. So that's 5. And I've gone on a massive one about how Saka has to start. So we have to squeeze him in now. Where does he play? That's the thing. We've kind of got some riches going forward.
If we play a 5-3-2, and we have Saka on the left of that three in midfield with, God, I don't know, Xhaka and Pepe as the three, and then Laka and Ober up top as the two.
Wow.
Doesn't give us much
Playing
midfield
FIFA now.
cover, does it?
FIFA.
Yeah.
This is why we're not football managers. We'll get torn to shreds with that midfield. Don't have a field there.
So I've gone three in midfield, but so I put Saka on the left. Yeah, I put Saka on the left of that back five, and then I've got Guendouzi and Torreira to add extra meat basically, and then to give Martinelli just on top of them, just in front of them, to almost give him this kind of, I don't know, free role. But now, Edward, you've said, how much pressure do we want to put on the youngsters, and now I'm putting him as the fulcrum of our attack, basically. But that was my idea, was to have Guendouzi and Torreira protecting Martinelli, and then the two up top.
I'm
no
worried
Granit
about
Xhaka
Guendouzi.
in a big game.
I would opt for Xhaka's experience. Guendouzi can just be a little bit careless sometimes and a little bit tetchy if things don't go his way, and we can't have players being sent off in this one.
For me, I'd go Guendouzi, Xhaka. I like Guendouzi a lot. We have to take that gamble, I think. And we have to start him because he's the only one with that real engine. Desperately going to need it against City. Ozil in behind. Saka on the left. Martinelli on the right. Ober in the middle. Pepe
So
and
a
Laka
record
on the
signing,
bench.
a record signing doesn't start. Jeez.
Damning. It's damning, but that's almost true to form in terms of managers not trusting him in the big games. I think he is ready to hit the ground running now. But on pure form, not on price tags, I think there's something to what I've picked. But look, I'd happily see, I'm a Pepe fan. I'd happily see him play as well. But I had to squeeze Saka in there.
I agree. I love Pepe. I didn't start him. He's on the bench for me, but I've only got positive vibes for him. I like him as a footballer. I like his style on the ball. He's shown glimpses. So yeah, I'm a big fan. But yeah, as you said, Andy, on form, Martinelli, Lacazette, Aber up front excited me more.
Bear
like
in
to
mind
see
as well,
Dani Ceballos involved as well.
Saka can tuck in defensively as well. Can tuck in and make that midfield a four on the left-hand side. Him and Tierney can overlap with each other. I like that. Look, there is a lot of promising things going on with this Arsenal squad under Mikel Arteta. So I know we've been a bit negative, but there is some great stuff. I think we just almost need to use the rest of the season as an experiment for next. FA Cup, we really need to focus on if we've got a chance to win it.
Well, we can't experiment with not qualifying for Europe, though. That's the thing, mate. We need to be in those Europa League spots, if not the Champions League spots. We can't just say play the kids and use this as a few training matches for the next season. We do.
We though? I mean,
can you imagine
Chelsea win the
Arsenal in
league
Europe
that season where they didn't have to play in Europe at all? I'm just asking the question. Look,
But we're so financially hamstrung already. We can't do with even less money from tournaments as well.
No.
Right?
Come on, lads. We're talking about Arsenal FC. We can't slip out of Europe.
No, yeah, I know. I was asking the question.
What would we tell our kids?
Okay, quick score prediction from you, Edward. We've had 3-1 or hoping for a 2-2 from Kier. Less than a minute left on the Zoom, so that puts the pressure on. Right, what have we got?
3-1 to City.
All right, 2-2.
But obviously not. But I'm a realist.
2-2. It's been fun.
Yours?
I'm going 2-2. Going goals at both ends.
Goal time.
It's going to be fun. Boys, this has been awesome. Would love to do it again. We'll do it again. Nice to have football back. Lovely to catch up with you.
See you, lads.
Cheers, guys.
I'll invest in the Zoom. The Zoom's going to cut us off. So anyway, if you're listening or watching, I hope you enjoyed it. Up the Arsenal.
Up the Arsenal.